Welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. You know, we travel full-time documenting parks and public lands across the country while we publish our Big Blend magazines, all different kinds, from travel to history to food and wine to the arts, and also hosting Big Blend Radio. Now, we're very excited. Last month, we started a new series. It's all about traveling the Jefferson Highway. This is a very historic route that goes from Winnipeg, Canada, down to New Orleans. And in fact, it actually was started before Route 66. It's being revived. I mean, this is super exciting. And there's so much history. There's so much art. There's music. I mean, we're talking Bonnie and Clyde history. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on. So we're doing a new series. It's every fourth Tuesday here on Big Blend Radio. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com and go to this whole resurrection of this is all through the Jefferson Highway Association, which is how it even started. So I encourage you to go to the website, jeffersonhighway.org. If you go there, and also go on their Facebook page, because they have all kinds of awesome posts every day that really get you sucked in to, you're just going to have to go and ride the route, right? But they also have a conference coming up. So whether you're in tourism or a traveler, you're going to want to go check it out, or into history, you know, you're going to definitely want to check it out. So I'm going to introduce some of our special guests today. We've got Roger Bell, who was on our first show. He is the president of the Jefferson Highway Association. So welcome back, Roger. How are you?
Great. It's great to be back with you again.
Oh. Hey, thank you for joining us. It's cool to have you. Now, Roger, you're in Oklahoma, right? In Muskogee? Am I, where are you?
I
in
am
Oklahoma?
an Okie from Muskogee.
I love that.
I had to make sure I said it correctly.
I did.
I was like, as I started to say it, I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to say it wrong, and then Merle Haggard will kill me. But welcome back. Welcome back to the show. And then, of course, Arlene Gould. Arlene is who got us into this.
Yes.
You know, Natchitoches, Louisiana is one of our favorite places on the planet, really. And we keep going back, and she's, you know, just kept saying this Jefferson Highway thing is happening, and we're putting a park in. And I'm like, yep, we saw the beginning of the park, and then the park happened. And she kept saying, girls, this Jefferson Highway goes from Winnipeg. We're like, well, we have friends in Winnipeg, and, you know, they like to party like we do. She goes, well, you could party all the way down the highway to Natchitoches and then to New Orleans, where she's from.
We have ancestors.
Yes, we have ancestors in Winnipeg. And we just had a recent family history phone chat with a friend who, like, yeah, it's crazy. So, Arlene, thank you for doing that and getting us involved with the Jefferson Highway, because once you get sucked in, there's no going back. So welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And it's good to be back on the show to talk about one of my favorite things, the Jefferson Highway. You know, I've just been, you know, really involved for a couple of years, but me and the Jefferson Highway go way back from New Orleans. Ooh. I think I mentioned it before, because the international marker that was, you know, put out in 1917 is actually my family's meeting spot every year for Mardi Gras for the last 28 years. So, yep, me and Jefferson Highway go way back.
Wow, cool.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. This route really is. It connects family history all the way down. And I think this resurgence of it coming back is going to get people back. And like, my ancestors did this trip. And Arlene, when we were in the office, and if you go to jeffersonhighway.org, you'll be able to see the same newsletters and join as a member. It's really cost effective. I think it's $35 or something to join. You know, these newsletters showing how people traveled way back when is amazing. And Natchitoches being part of that makes sense, because you're the oldest settlement in Louisiana. So I want to give everyone the website is natchitoches.com. So, and that's Natchitoches. It's Natchitoches to go to, because you got one of those names, Arlene. We got to do that. We got to sing the song like Kelly taught us.
Unforgettable.
Right.
It is. Well, Arlene, we've got a couple other guests joining us from Kansas and Oklahoma, but I just really quickly wanted to say it's so important that we're on this show the fourth Thursday in April. You're so connected in regards to what's happening with National Tourism Week, May 1st through 7th. How important is the Jefferson Highway, do you think, as running a CVB, a Convention Visitor Bureau in Natchitoches, the oldest settlement? How important is this highway in regards to tourism? And when we think about Tourism Week coming up, we need to look at this as a huge opportunity for communities all the way down from Winnipeg to New Orleans.
Right. Well, it goes through the rural areas, because back in the day when it was developed in, 1915, 1917, early 1920s, it was the rural areas where the route originally went through. So in come all these big interstates and take over, transportation, and these old highways were left behind. So that Jefferson Highway is very important for those rural communities not to be left behind and forgotten.
I think it's really, really important.
I read that it was called America's Vacation Route.
That's right.
And I'm
It
thinking,
was back in
okay,
the day.
yeah.
Yep.
So that makes it worth exploring. Go ahead.
With Natchitoches being the oldest settlement in the Louisiana Purchase Territory and the Jefferson Highway going through the Louisiana Purchase Territory, it was perfect from north, south, from Winnipeg, all the way to New Orleans. Here in Louisiana, it goes from through Shreveport, Natchitoches, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, and then on to New Orleans. But there's 17 parishes, or what other people would refer to as counties, that the highway, the old Jefferson Highway, travels through 17 parishes.
Wow.
So,
that's amazing.
It's very important to those. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's also important that people understand what a parish is, because Louisiana is a little different than the rest of the country. I mean, you're the only state with the parishes,
That's correct. Everybody else has counties, but we wanted to be a little bit different. So, Louisiana.
Only in Louisiana.
Only in Louisiana. Yeah, where we have, 400 festivals a year in our state. But, we do have parishes and as opposed to counties. So, so if you hear us referring to parishes, that's what it is.
I love this. So everyone, Natchitoches.com is the website, NATCHITOCHES.com. I'm going off my head. And again, JeffersonHighway.org is the website too. So we're going to go up to the city of McAlester. So to me, that feels a little Scottish. I feel like I should put a kilt on. We're going to go meet with Billy Sumner, and I go to the website, cityofmcalester.com, and that's MCALESTER, because you could do that in different ways. This is like a spelling bee. But welcome, Billy. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you guys for this opportunity. It's definitely great to be here and great to be a part of the wonderful excitement and movement going on here in Oklahoma.
Well, this is exciting because, Oklahoma is, when you think about going in tourism, Oklahoma has some immense history of settling the West. And so do you think through the Jefferson Highway, this is something that people will start to understand how important your state was in, settling the West, and even the cattle movement, and there's just so much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned it very well. I mean, we've got so much history from the Wild West through outlaws and Native American history and music and just classic Americana that rolls all the way through Oklahoma. And I feel that there's still a lot of people out there that view Oklahoma as almost still in teepees and Old West, but we have such a diverse environment and so many different things here in Oklahoma to experience. And the Jefferson Highway runs through a lot of that here in Oklahoma. And I'm excited to have people start traveling it and really know more about Oklahoma and our history.
Awesome. And the city of McAlester, you have some crazy history. I was on the website the other day going, holy cow, like all kinds of stuff went down. But it seems like it's a very family centric community with some colorful history, rich history, and at the same time, a town that could, really benefit from people traveling and experiencing your history and the park. You've got beautiful parks from the website, again, cityofmcalester.com. It seems like this is a win-win for your area.
Oh, absolutely. McAlester actually is very unique as we have two historic downtown districts. We have what's known as our Old Town Antiques District and then our Downtown District. And the route, the Jefferson Highway, actually runs straight through the heart of McAlester. So it's basically Old Business 69 or our Main Street. And as it runs straight through the Antique District and it crosses US Highway 270 and then touches on the beginning of our downtown area. So we're constantly growing and evolving, and there's definitely a push for some revitalization downtown. So it's a wonderful opportunity to showcase a lot of what McAlester has to offer. There's been a lot of festivals that's been created that are hosted in our downtown area as well. So you travel down the Jefferson Highway, you come straight through McAlester, you're going to experience a lot of what we have and a wide variety of different things that you can see along the way.
Cool. I know that there was a recent meeting, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to bring on our next guest, Chris Wilson. He's from Crawford County, Kansas. So I just want to know if they have crawfish. I mean, I don't know. We're talking about Louisiana, too. But everyone, you can go to visitcrawfordcounty.com. But welcome, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. And we do not have crawfish. We do, however, have a lot of gorillas, and I guess we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. I know Nancy's going to be so happy about that. She wants gorillas in this conversation.
Yeah, we're about an hour and a half south of Kansas City, and we're southeast Kansas, and I'm representing Pittsburgh and Crawford County. But yeah, really, I can tell you guys a lot about southeast Kansas for the Jefferson Highway Conference when they're coming in June.
Okay, so Nancy will not be happy until you talk about why you have gorillas in Kansas.
All right. So the gorilla story is that our university, back in the day, it's getting close to 100 years now, when they had a student pep club, and they were upset that there were not fans of the sporting events and those kinds of things. And so they started their own little club, and it was a pep club, and they called themselves Gorillas, and that was slang at the time for like a ruffian or untamed rowdiness. And so that it kind of stuck. The college kind of bought into it. The college itself bought into it, more, not just the students. They eventually voted it to be our nickname, and Pittsburgh State University is the only college in the country that has gorillas as its mascot.
That's so cool.
Everybody here who's an alumni, their business, their home, there are gorillas everywhere here.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So do you have public art gorillas, like statues? Because that's what got Nancy.
Yeah, look.
Yes, we do. We have huge. Yep, right on campus there are several, actually. So yeah, you can they're all over the place. You cannot miss them.
That's so cool.
Nancy, are we going there?
Yeah.
Are we going to Crawford County now?
Oh yeah, I'm going to go play with the gorillas. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Nancy wants the gorillas. We'll do that for sure. So you're just south of Kansas City. So I'm just saying we're going to be there in July. We could do a detour, Nancy. We can do a detour. We can, we're going to be in Kansas City right by Overland Park, which is one of the places, this is the thing that happened after our last conversation. So we have a page up on blendradioandtv.com. If you go there, you'll see it. Just type in Jefferson Highway. And I started looking at the map in depth. And then I geeked out and realized we have been to a lot of places and didn't know it. And I know this is going to be for the rest of the population. Like, you've been on the Jefferson Highway and did not know you were on this historic highway. And so, we're going to be there this year, and we're not stopping. We're just going to keep going with this project because it is super cool. But you could geek out forever. And Roger, it seems like you're just like us on that kind of thing. You just geek out on this amazing history because I found that we were on parks, we were in downtowns, and then like as I was putting that one page together, and everyone, you'll see it in Vacation Station magazine. Just go to blendradioandtv.com. You'll see it. I really realized so much history. Like you could go from, there was oil history in Texas. Of course, there's Natchitoches history. It's kind of crazy because you could do
culture,
like
the culture on
Yeah,
the
you could
route
just
is
do food.
amazing. It's just just take your interest, and you can probably find it if you're looking for it. Hopefully, we'll touch on that in a couple of future episodes on some of those things, because they're really fascinating. But yeah, it's you can just hear the culture in this conversation today, from Louisiana to Oklahoma up into Kansas. I mean, it's there, and it's a discovery every day you're on the route.
So, okay, real quick thing. Let's just look at food, because we can all connect on food, right?
Well, you got two communities here on this call right now that have great food stories, So, I mean,
But we got more than that. I mean,
well, I know.
come
I'm
on,
just
okay.
saying, you got two people that you're on your call today that have great food stories. I mean, McAlester and Billy's going to be able to tell you about the grape miners and all the Italian stuff that's in their area. And then the story of the chicken in Pittsburgh is unbelievable. So
we want to know about, okay, so what about you, like where you are? What is your thing, like for food? What would you say that represents your town?
Barbecue. I mean, that is, I just had a gentleman come through on the Jefferson Highway route last week, and of course he came into town. Where did I take him? I took him to one of our best barbecue places. So,
barbecue.
That's what we're known for.
Arlene, I know the answer, but you got to say it. What's happening in Natchitoches for food?
Are you looking for a meat pie?
Heck yeah. It's the state pie. It is the state pie of Louisiana.
It's an official state food item. You're correct. The Natchitoches meat pie has been approved by the state legislature. It is an official state food. And we also do crawfish pies too sometimes. So.
We're back to the crawfish. See?
Yeah.
See, we're there.
See?
And you've got also the gas station food eats trail that goes through Natchitoches too, where people like to go to gas stations and eat really good food that makes you happy. Maybe not your doctor happy, but you're going to be happy. I'm just saying. It's a trip. So I want to go to you, Chris, out in Crawford County, Kansas. What are we eating?
Probably going to want to go to one of our fried chicken restaurants. As Roger kind of talked about, we were a mining area. We were coal mining for several decades, and a couple of wives, one of them's actually getting close to 90 years ago. One wife, her husband got injured in a coal mine, and she started selling chicken out of her house. Actually, she started selling sandwiches out of her house, and eventually she migrated to chicken as well. And then a couple other locations in the area several years after that started doing the same thing. And it's just kind of our tie to our past is that those fried chicken joints. We have 6 of those all 6 of them hit 50 years last year. So for a county our size to have 6 fried chicken places, just really kind of unheard of. Especially for them to survive that long.
Okay, so we're coming. We're coming to see you. And Roger, you did good. You did good bringing Chris on the show. Billy, what's happening in the city of McAlester for food?
Well, kind of like Chris, McAlester and our nearby neighboring town of Krebs, Oklahoma, was definitely founded on a lot of coal mine and Italian immigrants. So right now in the scene, we definitely have a lot of great craft food and beverage that are popping up. But we're definitely known, especially Krebs, as Oklahoma's Little Italy. So we have a lot of wonderful Italian restaurants, and including an Italian grocery store and market that a lot of people travel for their well-known award-winning cheeses. So that is something that is very, very popular around the area.
Wow. Who would know? Like, really? I mean, thinking about Oklahoma and then Italian food, you wouldn't think. Kind of new barbecue, like Roger, what you said, but you did good, Roger. We got a whole plethora going on here. And I know, think about Minnesota, what's going on up there, and you got to think about all the different states on the trail. I mean, Texas, you've got We got Iowa, right? We've got a lot to do. We got a lot to eat. I'm just saying. So we'll do specific food shows on the trail as we go. But I wanted Roger to go back to you because we want to talk about what happened, in Oklahoma recently. Really good things happening, and then what's coming up with the conference. But Roger, just to give everybody just a little overview again of this trail or route, how historic it is. 1915, right? So before Route 66, but it does cross Route 66 and the Lincoln Highway. Just how important it is, and why it's back. It's back.
It was one of the first auto trails, as they were called, in the United States. It started in 1915, and there was a great, people were starting to drive automobiles. So the idea was, what can we do to create a highways, because cars couldn't travel on these roads. So the Jefferson was one of the first, and it was one of the first north-south, and one of the first what would be called international highways because of the Winnipeg and the parts in Manitoba. And it was started grassroots. It was not a federally designed highway. It didn't have government involved in it. It was mostly just local associations, national associations, but local people joining the national association and then deciding, well, we better improve our roads around here. And it was just kind of a grassroots deal. And it lost a lot of its identity toward the latter part of the 1920s into the 30s, when the numerical system of roads came across the United States. And it was still there. People were still traveling it. It's just the name identity was lost. And it's no different than any of what we call the Grand Auto Trails, Lincoln Highway, Dixie Highway, whatever you want to call them. There was a lot of them. They just began to lose their word, but people are rediscovering these great routes. And the Jefferson is one that is very unique because of its north-south. It's different cultures along the route. And we're excited to be bringing it back. And it is amazing what is happening up and down the route now.
I love it because, it was started also as the idea of Edwin Meredith, who published Better Homes and Gardens and also Successful Farming. And then also, I'm just going back on what's on your website, Secretary of Agriculture under President Woodrow thought the highway would be economically beneficial to the region's farmers. And that's something that we would see traveling through Iowa. They have like a whole farmer's route. And I think that's what's so cool about this. Arlene, you were saying about, the smaller towns that often get bypassed by major highways, the big interstates.
Right.
They can start to benefit, and whether it's farmers, restaurants, shops, and our small mom and pops, I think, stores. We're going through such a change right now in tourism and travel, and travelers want authenticity when they travel. They want a real experience. So this is a way to have that, but also keep America economically on the forefront. You know what I mean? So it's here. I'm not being political. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we have Miss Grayson, her and her husband, Mr. George. They've owned Grayson's Barbecue for over 50 years.
Oh, yeah, we love that.
They told me the story about how they have taken, not once but twice, drove their station wagon with a pop-up camper back in the 1960s, all the way from Natchitoches, all the way up to Winnipeg, Canada, with 7 of their children.
Oh, boy.
Are you kidding me? Grayson's Barbecue, people. Grayson's.
Grayson's Barbecue.
And listen, when you go there, it's real barbecue. They've got it in, they're grilling it in like these big ovens, and it's like you go in, the smoke, I mean, it's real, it's the real deal. And it's like you just sit down, and it's about the food not the decor. It's real. It's like you're lucky to have it. You know what I mean?
Right. But can you imagine taking your family vacation, all 7 of your children in a station wagon with a pop-up camper, and
That's
all the way
funny.
to Canada? I'm like, okay.
No, that's cool though. It's. I
Sounds-
mean, yeah. I mean,
Sounds
hopefully they're
familiar
all talking to
me.
each other.
Oh
Hopefully
yeah,
they're-
they're actually a very close-knit family. They're very close. So.
Oh, that's awesome. But that's the thing. I think road tripping is coming back, rediscovering what we have and what we should be proud of in our country, and also things that we're not so proud of that we have to ingest and fix
change.
and learn from. And that's part about
Exactly.
doing these trips. If kids get an family road trips, kids get an education going out more, take them out on a road trip and let them be part of this adventure. And I can see, like, down the road there'll be Jefferson Highway apps and treasure hunts and all kinds of programs down right now at the beginning.
Roger did that with his son recently, if I'm not mistaken, that he and his son had taken a trip.
Cool.
And I think it's a good way of bonding with your children and just learning together and rediscovering together.
At this upcoming conference, we have identified student rates for people to take their families, because we want students might be college students, but it also might be young students. So I was excited today to see our first young lady register. She's probably about 13, 14 years old, come into the conference. And I hope we get more.
That's so cool.
That's cool.
Okay.
Because
a youth coming on board, because I think this, again, is so exciting. So let's talk about the conference is coming up. Isn't it in June, Roger? It's coming up?
Yes, it will start.
Coming up soon.
Our opening night is June 1st, which is a Wednesday night, but it will go over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we're excited.
So June 1 through 4th. June 1 through 4th, and everyone in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So that brings us back to Crawford County, where you will not see crawfish, but you will see gorillas. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about what we can expect going to the conference.
Well, one of the things with coming, I think, it's like I said, I think Roger's going to probably tell a little bit more about the conference itself. But what's kind of nice about our area of Jefferson Highway is just the diversity that we have for this probably like hour and a half along the Jefferson Highway here in Southeast Kansas, because you've got all the way down. It connects it with Route 66 down in Galena, down in the Galena and Baxter Springs area. And Galena has some really cool stuff for the kids, especially. You're talking about about getting kids out and traveling and stuff. Well, if you've seen Pixar's Cars movies, you're going to see some familiar stuff in Galena. So that's one that if you've got kids, you've got to mark that down. That's Galena, Kansas, all the way up through our area. It's like I said, we got the mining area. Big Brutus is a 16-story electric shovel. It's the largest remaining shovel in the world. It is along Jefferson Highway. You cannot imagine just how big this thing is without actually seeing it for yourself. And then really all the way up to Fort Scott. Fort Scott's got a really cool museum. If you're familiar with the Irena Sendler story, Life in a Jar, they've got a really good museum up in Fort Scott that really tells that story and how her story was said.
Yeah, we
That's
have.
Very cool.
We'll be doing We'll be going a bus tour on Thursday. That's one of our always anticipated events. Everybody loves the bus tours, and we'll be going up to Fort Scott, and we'll be going through Arma and Franklin and up in that area. And we'll be visiting, some historic bridges, and then we're going to be doing some things in Fort Scott. That day, they're going to give us they have trolleys up there. They're going to give us a trolley tour through their downtown. So we're excited to be. That's always anticipated. We have Friday is going to be a lot of our presentations. We have some good speakers coming in. Nick Gerlich from Amarillo, Texas, is going to be kind of our keynote speaker. But we have other speakers, including myself. I'm going to give a presentation on the postcards of Jefferson Highway. We'll bring out postcards from all different areas, all different states, and
real postcards.
Real
like
postcards. Real
postcards. Like,
yeah.
Are you serious? Like, we can actually have a postcard.
I'm going to show you, the whole history of postcards, and then what the Jefferson Highway part of it is, and then we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to have a trivia night on Thursday night too, so that we're looking forward to trying to have a fun night of that. We have some other events, including our awards banquet. We give out awards to a lot of our communities and different volunteers along the route, and obviously some entertainment with that. But on Saturday, we really have a cool thing happening in Saturday. This is where we're reaching out to the community. We're going to have a Jefferson Highway parade of cars. They're going to be lined up in the timeline of cars. So we're going to see the earliest automobiles. One of them I found out today is going to be a 1915 Rolls Royce.
No way.
We're going to have, all this stuff up into the 1920s, 30s, and then
so
we may have, I don't know exactly how many cars we'll have, but we may have 75 to 100 cars traveling down the route on Saturday morning. They'll be escorted by police, and then we're going to do some things downtown to remind of what used to be like a long time ago when these, what we call sociability runs, will come through a town. We're going to have some American flags handed out, and we're going to, have fun with it. And we got some other things going on. And then that afternoon, we're going to have a public event at their local museum, and there's going to be some cars there that families can take their cars in. We're going to have some dress up things, like you could dress in the 1920s and get in one of these automobiles. Cool. And then we'll have some other fun stuff there, including a couple of exhibits that are going to be on there. So we got a lot going on, and you can find information on our website, jeffersonhighway.org, and Facebook has got posts about things too. So
this is something that
I want to drive one of those cars.
The tourism entities that maybe have not gotten on board, yet. Hello, we're coming. Teddy Roosevelt has the stick. Nancy and I, as we start traveling, have the stick. Promise you, we have it. And we'll be knocking on your doors. Like, if you haven't joined the Jefferson Highway Association yet, we're coming. We're going to be knocking on your door. This would be a good way for you to get to understand the importance of it. But I see it from the tourism aspect, but it seems like this is also really for travelers too, or just, historians and families and anybody, even just who lives on the corridor of this route, should be involved with, Roger.
Yeah, exactly. We have, we'll have a lot of different people with different interests. We'll have people from all over the country. We have people coming already registered from Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, and every state. This is one of the conferences. The only one we're missing right now is Manitoba, and I'm working on that. So we might even have every state and every province on the route represented at the conference. So that would be a
that's interesting, because you bring up Michigan and Manitoba. You bring up different areas. So even neighboring states, they get a positive.
Well, we have a lot of people that are just interested in this type of experience. They travel the roads all over. They just love historic roads. They love historic conferences like this, and they are just they look forward to it every year. And we'll have some of those, and then we'll have some new people from different areas that are starting to discover us. We're excited about that, and we are a pretty welcoming group. We're going to have a great time, and we just encourage you to, if you have any interest, you can reach out to us by email on our site, or reach out to me at jhoklahoma.zoho.com, at zoho.com, and we can answer your questions. But I'm going to offer something tonight. If you're going to be hearing this a little bit after the deadline date that has come through for our early bird pricing. But if you're hearing this and you want to participate and do early bird pricing, just reach out to us, messages, and I will make sure you get that special rate.
So if you're on Facebook as we post this, or through our site and everything, just say, "Hey, Big Blend Radio," and just say Roger said so. So that's it.
You got it.
Roger said so. Yes.
Hey, this is Arlene. I wanted to say, I think it was 2 years ago, Roger. I don't know. It might have been 3. I forget. But Natchitoches was selected to be the host site for the last conference that they've been able to have.
2019.
Obviously, the last 2 years, we haven't been 2019. But we were so proud to host the Jefferson Highway conference. And we actually had people from 12 different states and 3 different countries. So
wow.
We were so pleased and just so happy and excited to share our community, to those folks that were, interested in learning more about the Jefferson Highway. But that was 2009, about this time of the year. It was April actually of 2019. So
wow, that is amazing. Yeah, because we came and saw you right after that. I remember you're like, "You've got to do this," and we're like, "Okay, if you say so." And then we looked into it. We're like, "Holy cow, Arlene, look at this!" And you're like, "I told you." It's cool. But I want to also go over to Billy over in the city of McAlester, because I think this is so important, Billy, about what you can bring to the table. You just had like a Oklahoma Jefferson Highway Association meeting, and what I saw on Facebook. And listen, I watch every single day of what you guys are posting for the Jefferson Highway Association. I need my fix, and it seemed like that meeting you had, high-end tourism people standing up, Route 66 people. It seemed like quite a it's happening, right? From what I saw from just the one meeting, now a conference is coming. But can you tell us a little bit, Billy, of what that meeting was like and then what's coming from that meeting?
Absolutely. And you said it best. I mean, it was really, really exciting to see the momentum that was going on. And I've been with the Jefferson Highway and a part of working with Roger on this for probably about the last 4 years.
Wow.
I've been with McAlester Tourism for 5 coming up this next month. And I know me and Roger touched base early on in my career, and he got me kind of interested in things. And I saw the potential, of course, that Oklahoma and definitely McAlester could have. And I feel like we all have those similar stories. When you first learn about the Jefferson Highways, there's just so much to take in. And Arlene said it best earlier. I think the goal of this entire movement all across the country is to get our travelers and people back off the main roads and into the hearts and histories of these communities, because not only does the Jefferson Highway have such a story to tell, but so does each one of these communities. And, they're unique and different, and it's important to provide all of them with the ability and the promotion to be able to tell those stories. And like we were mentioning with the young travelers and the people that are the students, I mean, they get to experience history coming alive, and it's living and breathing at their fingertips. And they're not just experiencing it and reading about it in a textbook, but they're creating their own stories that they then get to share, and it keeps that history going. And Oklahoma is really on a big movement for that. So early on, it was hard to try to connect everybody. And that was one of Roger and I's first early goals, was to start trying to get communities up and down the Jefferson Highway to, come together and realize the potential. And not all of these are big communities. Some don't have tourism bureaus. Some of them are just cities that may have just city officials. There's nobody that really can connect. So we're relying on, chambers and business owners and people that just get mom and pops that get excited about this. So over the last few years, we've really seen all of these communities come together. In this meeting, I believe we had almost everyone represented up and down the highway in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And like you said, it was amazing to see people from Route 66. We had people from ODOT, which is Oklahoma Department of Transportation. We had so many officials and higher ups and people within government coming to see and support and learn about the highway. And the momentum and movement is very, very strong at this point.
Oh, I love this. And, when you talk about your transportation, your highway people, I want to go to Roger. We were based out of Arizona. We have a storage unit because we travel full time, but Arizona Highways is a publication out of Arizona, Department of, or road department, whatever you call it, right? It's the highway department. And that magazine is iconic. Artists, photographers, I can talk about Ted DeGrazia as one of the most famous, most reproduced artists in the world. That actually even helped the editor of that magazine. The two of them made it happen. So when you think about these highways and that part of it, I mean, rest areas have actually, when we travel, we go to a lot of rest areas, especially during COVID. I mean, I remember in one rest area in Arkansas, families had a gathering and somebody had a smoker on the top of the back of their pickup truck. And I'm like, cool. What the heck is going on here? But cool. They wanted to have a family picnic out somewhere where everybody could meet.
Well, that's like the Jefferson Highway tourist camp days, people would just travel
exactly.
around.
And the routes that rest areas have, depending on where you are, there's Texas and Iowa. Okay, Iowa has a windmill outside the windmill place in Elkhorn. I'm going to get it right. And they have a windmill thingy going on, like a Dutch windmill going on in the rest area. And then in Texas, some of them have little oil derricks as their rest area gazebo things. So it's like this is magic, and we're going to get back to this. This fun, and Louisiana, we know you're rested. Actually, Arlene, you have a really clean one near you guys, by the way, just saying, with nice gardens and fountain.
One of the big parts of the Oklahoma deal was their signage, because we got to roll out our actual signage plan. So we expect Oklahoma to be fully marked with signage, sometime in 2023. So that's a big thing for us. We would be the second state to do that outside of Iowa. So we're moving in other areas. So it was
so
really good.
Those relationships are important to get the Department, of Travel or Tourism, like the road people involved. Everybody's got a different name for it, but to get them involved, not only to have it even in their rest areas, and this is part of the Jefferson Highway, or the Jefferson Highway was is so many miles away. You know what I mean? Not is so many miles away. And I think even that's the importance of neighboring states, because they're going to benefit of this revival.
Well, when you say Oklahoma, my mind, for whatever reason, goes to Will Rogers. Now, is he anywhere close to this trail? Wasn't he born in Oklahoma?
Well, he touches some of the history. He's more known for Claremore is really his hometown, and that's a Route 66 community, not with us. But he went to school at a young age in Muskogee, so I'll claim him a little bit.
There you go, claim it.
One of the things that I think in Oklahoma, from a tourist perspective, a lot of people come here for Native American history here is so great. Yeah. And awesome. This route touches almost every one of the 5 civilized tribes, and goes to the heart of really a native tourism here is growing and enhancing, because we have some great attractions here. My son just last weekend got to go to Durant, Oklahoma, which is on Jefferson Highway, for a Native American Student Association conference, and they went to the fairly new cultural center for the Choctaw Nation. And you can spend a lot of time here and just really discovering the Native American history here in Oklahoma. And,
awesome.
And this route really is perfect for it.
I love it. So exciting. And so the conference, again, everybody is coming up. So book your seat now. It is going to be up June. We're going to June, right? June 1 to 4 in Pittsburgh, Kansas, not Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's even spelled different. So
drop the H.
There's no H's in that.
We don't need
Pittsburgh.
the H.
No, don't waste your time on the H.
Hey, Lisa. Before we start to wrap things up, I just want to mention May the 1st through the 7th of this year is National Travel and Tourism Week. And the theme for this year is the future of travel. And I just want to say part of the mission statement for the Jefferson Highway Association is to promote the preservation of the Jefferson Highway in America, in the United States and in Canada. So it kind of ties into one another. We're going to preserve, we want to promote it for future generations to enjoy. Just like, the past generations, we want to honor that and keep it going. So
I love it. And it's responsible tourism as well.
It's the best way to teach history to your children is to take them there.
Exactly.
Got an experience.
Yes.
So before we go, I want from each of you one place that you can recommend a family goes to on the Jefferson Highway. I don't care what state it is. Okay. So from each of you, I'm going to start with you, Arlene. One place that you say, go to this place on the Jefferson Highway.
Well, I love my community here in Natchitoches, but my hometown is New Orleans, and I am going to say the World War II Museum in New Orleans because it's been recognized internationally as one of the best museums in the world. So I'm going to say take your children, your grandchildren to the World War II Museum, and let's not forget that part of our history,
Right.
And it's, that's just, it was 10 blocks from where I grew up, in New Orleans now. But yeah, that's where I would take my little trip to the World War II.
I love that.
So.
Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Roger?
Well, that's kind of interesting.
That's really hard for Roger because he's geeked out on this entire route.
Well, I could go into a lot of things. I could go into, Jesse James's farm. I could go in a lot of things. But I will say, this is one of the unique things of this route. The World War I Museum in Kansas City is one of my favorite museums. And it goes through the time of the Jefferson Highway. I mean, the Jefferson Highway was being built during World War I. And it is really, and I've been to a lot of museums in the country, and I've actually been on some boards of museums, but it's one of my favorite museums that I've been to is the World War I Museum in Kansas City. It's just something personally that I enjoy. But yes, I could name a lot more places like the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa. It's I could go on and on. But
so now we have World War I history and World War II.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, we talked to our friend Mike Guardia, who's our military historian, and we talked to him on the show recently and said, we've got to do the Jefferson Highway. We talked about it on his show, actually, with us, and said, we're going to do World War II history along the highway. And he said, well, there's both kind of thing. Yeah. So it seems like we're going to have to do World War I and II on the highway and he's in Minneapolis. So we got World War stuff going on in Minneapolis. So everybody stay tuned for that. There's just, it's never ending once you look at it. And it is a geek out. It's a total rabbit hole, and it's a good rabbit hole. Everybody wants to be in that rabbit hole. So I'm going to go to you, Chris, over in Crawford County with the gorillas. And everyone, visit crawfordcounty.com, by the way.
So if you're making the trip to Pittsburgh for the Jefferson Highway Conference, the one place that you absolutely must go to, downtown Pittsburgh, the Jefferson Highway Garage. We do have a building downtown Pittsburgh. It has its original signage out front. We actually have one of the Jefferson Highway markers there that kind of tells the little story, tells the story about that building that's there. So yeah, if you're making that trip, you've got to go see the sign just to say that you've been to one of the buildings that still has its original signage.
And that's just so huge, right? Because signage has been taken down, like old school signage, neon signs, and then there's the old school that isn't neon, but it's old school, you know what I mean? Like the little bubbly things. I don't know how to explain
This is old school. This is old school.
Yeah,
this is old school. This is before neon.
But there's that old, that old, no, it's like American pickers want to get it, and hell no, it belongs here. No, don't sell it. Don't sell it. Keep it for the highway. Don't let those pickers come over. No. Don't let them. No, I like that show, but anyway, and Antiques Roadshow, I like them too. But Billy, over in the city of McAlester, Oklahoma, and everyone go to cityofmcalester.com. What do you recommend in your area?
Well, obviously, I definitely would encourage anyone to come down and see, as we said, the wonderful history of McAlester, the Italian history in Krebs. We're actually restoring a old theater in downtown McAlester known as the Okla.
Ooh.
So in the next few years, hopefully we'll have that up and running. There is right now tours and a gift shop you can come see. But I know Roger mentioned down in Durant, the Choctaw Cultural Center. So there's a lot of things, but one thing that I'm excited about that'll be coming the next few months that's right on the highway is brought to you by somebody who you may know. This person may have heard the name. They were born in McAlester, someone by the name of Reba McIntyre. She has a wonderful new spot opening up in Atoka known as Reba's Place, and I'm anxious for that to open because I think that will be a really awesome place right on the highway there in Atoka that a lot of tourism is going to come to. It'll tie greatly into the Oklahoma Music Trail. So that's a really exciting spot.
Oklahoma Music Trail too? Like really?
Yes.
It's all
and
so this crosses the Jefferson Highway, crosses over a music trail too?
It does.
Oh boy.
Roger can talk a lot about that in Muskogee. There's a lot of wonderful history there with it. And the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame runs down through, Shakota, which is obviously home of Carrie Underwood. Get into, Reba being born there in McAlester, and then running over into Atoka, which will have her place. There's just so much music history and things all along the route that is just is amazing. So that's definitely a very exciting thing that I know that not only the communities around, but also even the state is very anxious to start promoting when that happens. And that should be done.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. That's so exciting. And Reba is the ultimate, don't mess with, I'm just going to say she's a badass. She is like, do not mess with Reba. She is super cool. Okay, wait. Now, I know we have to go, but Chris, Kansas, come on, you got music too. Do you have music crossing through your area or near your area? I mean, you're not far from Kansas City. That's got to be hello, Music Central. That's going to be there too.
Kansas City's actually has a nice, really cool jazz museum up there. So if you're into jazz, they've got a little. They're the place to go if you like jazz. But my area where I'm at, because we're between Kansas City, we're between Tulsa. We've got Springfield to the east of us. We actually have a wide variety of music here. So I don't even know what I would say. I guess the old timers would probably say polka, but that's not even really the case anymore. It's a little bit of everything. We got a little polka, a little rock and roll country. There's a little bit of everything here.
Wow. So this is so one of these shows has to be dedicated to music. And Arlene, the last time I chatted with you and Lieutenant Governor Billy Lungesser, you said there's a music trail happening for Louisiana?
Yes. Yeah, the state's working on a statewide music trail. So that should be interesting. Yeah.
How much fun is that?
Boy, you can't beat Louisiana. Come on. Okay, that's it. I can't wait to get on the road and see you all. Nancy, I got to put air in the tires. I'm just saying. I got to put air in the tires.
It's not that hard. Just do it.
I will. All right. We'll see you all in the summer and fall in the winter, and then the next time, we're doing this. Thank you all for joining us again. The Natchitoches website is natchitoches.com. It's natchitoches.com. So and now the bird clock had to perform too for you.
It sounds like the Mickey Mouse Club the way you
I know it is. That's what Kelly over at Natchitoches CVB taught me. And then the Jefferson Highway is jeffersonhighway.org. And if you go to the city of McAlester, it's cityofmcalester.com. That's MCALESTER.com. And then go to visit crawfordcounty.com too to learn more about Pittsburgh, Kansas, and that region. And we want to thank today's show sponsor. Our first sponsor of the show is the Little Man on the Map books. And this Little Man on the Map, when you look at a map of the United States, you will see this little man with his little hat and this little man. But when you look at the Jefferson Highway, you will really see the little man on the map. And from that, This whole book exploded, 2 books actually. The Little Man in the Map book teaches kids clues to remember all 50 states, and then the second book is about the capitals across the country. But when you look at the Jefferson Highway, you will see the little man in the map. In fact, the highway even pings right off his butt. I didn't say that, but I did. It does. Look at it. You got to look at it. So go to jeffersonhighway.org and look at the map, and then go to geographybooksforkids.com, and you'll see what I mean. It's a really cool book system, and if you're going to take your kids on a road trip, they should know the U.S. geography. So check it out. So thank you to the author, Andrew Martoni, for being part of it. And also thank you, everyone. We're going to close off. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Every 4th Thursday, we will air a new episode of the Jefferson Highway. And this is so exciting. Now, we're going to get new music for the highway. But we're still sticking in Louisiana because it goes from Winnipeg to Louisiana, to New Orleans. So today's song is New Orleans, and it's by John Rodinger, and you can keep up with him at johnrodigermusic.com. This is from his EP, NOLA Rolls. Enjoy. Thanks, everybody.
There's bourbon on the streets of New Orleans, and it's waiting on the afternoon rain. The corner bar and the old streetcar offer refuge from the same. Lucky got a spell on me again. And every time the foghorn blows and the old muddy river groans, there's something magic, there's something beautifully nostalgic about the city of New Orleans. Last night still lingers through the morning, while the moon waits on coffee and beignets. Poets, bards, and sailors are caught up in a sway. Delta blue pluck my heartstrings again. Every time the foghorn blows and the old muddy river groans, there's something magic, something beautifully nostalgic about the city of New Orleans. The Bayou Mona Lisa, the Sin City St. Teresa. She's the queen of the Vieux Carré, the lady of Lake Pontchartrain. She's history, she's mystery, she's Southern hospitality. She'll always be New Orleans. Time a foghorn blows and the old muddy river groans, something magic, something beautifully nostalgic about the city of New Orleans. And now there's just something magic, something beautifully nostalgic about the city of New Orleans.